Hey everyone, I got a treat for you on this week's Chatterday episode. I had the opportunity to chat with the creators of the upcoming 4-issue comic series called Divinity Rising. The writer, Darren Pierce, is a bit of a newcomer to comics, but he's also currently working on an unnamed movie project with the production company Centropolis. It's owned by Roland Emmerich, who's been known for directing The Day After Tomorrow, Independence Day, and 2012, so you know it's probably going to be something pretty epic. The artist on the book, Stuart, is no stranger to comics. He's worked for Marvel UK in the past, and now Stuart is a video game concept artist. He's recently been working on his own comic series also called Chronos Commandos, which he writes, draws, and colors, and it's published by Titan Books. So it looks like these two have joined forces to bring us Divinity Rising, which is being published by Marcosia, and I don't know why I'm still talking. Let's get to the interview and let these guys tell you more about it. So here we got Stuart and Darren. You guys are writing the new comic Divinity Rising. I am saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I would hate to just start off on a bad foot there. But, I mean, the first thing I got to know is, how did you guys start getting involved in comics? Darren, you can go first.
For me, it was probably a little bit of an accident, really. It was through a friend who I met, Stuart, via. I sort of been dallying with other formats of writing, and to be fair, sort of happened upon this style, and it felt right. And then when I hooked up with Stuart, it felt even better. So I've just sort of fallen into it.
Oh, that's great. So you just recently got into all this.
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
Has it blown your mind yet?
I love the pace. I think that's what blows my mind. You know, I mean, there's such a quickness about writing in this format. I think you can really cut to the chase very quickly. And I think, you know, in this environment where, you know, Twitter's probably one of the most dominant networks in the world, it's all about pace. And I love it. I love the style.
That's pretty awesome. And Stuart, how did you get into comics?
I started out with Marvel UK. That would be back in about 91, something like that. I was about 20 at the time, so it was a good experience, good learning curve. And then from there, I went into the video games industry as a concept artist. I've been about 20 years in the games industry now. And yeah, I guess, you know, it's a welcome return to get back into the comics side of things.
Oh yeah, it's good to have you back. I mean, I played tons of video games. Actually, I checked out some of your concept art, and all of it looks phenomenal. And so it gets me excited to see what kind of games that you're going to be coming out with, just to get a chance to play them, because they do look beautiful.
Yeah, I'm currently working on Chris Roberts, who created Wing Commander. Currently working on his latest title, Squadron 42. So yeah, it's interesting. You know, it's definitely it's a huge market at the moment.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you got into comics around in the '90s, so I mean that's like the era of like big muscle, body, gun toting superheroes. Oh, yeah. And so I mean that's pretty cool. I dig that kind of stuff. Some of my favorite superheroes came from, I guess, that era, like, you know, the Deadpools and all those kind of characters. And so I've really dug that era of comics. But it's really good to see comics grow from there, obviously. I mean, you don't want to just muscle-bound heroes going crazy forever. But so that leads me, so we know how you both got into the industry, but how did you both come together exactly?
I'll let Darren answer.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it was a mutual friend. I'd sort of been playing around with the character, I don't know, for a while. And, you know, I sort of threw it in front of a friend of mine who knew Stu, and we basically were thrown together in a good old-fashioned country pub in England. Had a chat over some very loose ideas, and it literally went from there. And we started building up the plot and the narrative, and here we are now.
A lot of beer usually is what brings people together, I think.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, since we have mentioned this comic, alluded to it and your guys' work, let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit. Can you guys give me a little background on what this story is going to be about?
Crikey, it's almost like a titanic battle between good and evil that features a very special woman in the middle of it all. Eleanor is I think we use the phrase empowered hero, and what we see over the first series is her journey from a young girl in Moscow to somebody who takes a pivotal role in a group that are aligned to the CIA. And through that, we also see her power as she evolves. So it's got some very nice touches in there. We're very pleased with some of the family touches. We won't give anything away, obviously, but there's a lot in there that I think people can relate to now. And there's a lot in there, I think, that people who like traditional superhero comics will also be able to gravitate to. And also at the center of it is a very strong woman, very strong female lead character.
That's awesome. And, you mentioned the strong female lead. You see a trend of that now, especially coming from the big two. Marvel's put out the new Miss Marvel, new Captain Marvel, and now the new Storm comic. And you see some of that at DC as well. I mean, do you think that's going to be a big trend now for comics, is to put leading women in these positions?
I guess. I guess everything moves in trends, really. I guess the thing we want to do with Eleanor is to try and break away from the traditional female kind of superhero. So she's not overtly sexualized, and she's not wearing basically a swimsuit. We'd like to angle it more to the reality side of things. Imagine something more akin to Jason Bourne, like via the X-Men or something. It's quite a grounded kind of reality we're trying to keep. We want to stay clear of superheroes flying around. But yeah, definitely the female side of thing, is what kind of drew me to Eleanor as well. It's a chance to evolve quite a strong female character, and bring up all. We've got quite a depth to a history, to a family history in the strip as well. So there's, like you say, there's quite a growing trend for that as well. So it's nice to explore.
That's really awesome. I keep hearing the word family. Is that kind of be one of the virtues you guys want to come across in this comic, is family?
Well, there's certainly a lot of twisting, and there's a lot of plot that revolves around family. We touch on some pretty strong themes of betrayal, and themes of trust, and I think it sat very well with the character. And although she does go through quite a torturous sort of life, she comes out of it the other side, and she's incredibly strong. And I think, again, a lot of people will be able to relate to that in our own everyday lives. And I think that's something that we've kind of strived for. Yeah, we want to keep it grounded, and we want it to be something that people can, look back on and say, do you know what, I actually feel that. I've been through that in my own way.
I really dig what you guys are doing. The few things that I have been able to see from Divinity Rising, I've really fallen in love with. And I really can't wait to see this come out later this fall. In fact, what time or around when is it actually going to drop?
That's a good question. We're hopefully shooting for the end of September. Any delays beyond that, we'll certainly let you know. But that's what we're shooting for at the moment.
And that's issue 1 of a 4-part series.
If usually for delays, who do you guys blame?
Each other.
Be all my fault.
I mean, between y'all two, do you guys work really close together, or is it just kind of like Darren does his own thing and then it's like, okay, Stuart, here, just fix this?
Yeah, kind of. We never speak really. Just kidding. No, we kind of meet up a couple of times a month just to see how things are progressing.
We are in constant touch. I mean, if we're not texting each other about what's going on Twitter and where we're going with it, we're texting plot ideas. It's a constant thing, but there is that creative space that we both need. I need it for writing and coming up with ideas. Stu certainly needs it from the art side. So we're always there.
That's good, and I mean, contact is always a key thing, especially when collaborating on a project like this. And I'm not too good on my geography over there. How far apart do you guys live from each other?
Not too far, to be honest. It's probably about
20 miles.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, a stone's throw, I guess. I don't know what you would call that. Not too far.
That's some stone, but yes.
That's really great. I mean, so what do you guys hope to, accomplish by the end of this project?
Lamborghini each and a big mansion in Beverly Hills would do nice.
I think it'd just be nice to get something fresh out there. With Eleanor, I don't think there's been anything like it before, and it'd just be nice to try and take the superhero genre into kind of a new direction. We'll see what happens.
Definitely, and I mean, there are tons of comics out there, and there's tons of artists, writers trying to get their own story. If you were to just tell someone what makes your story extremely different from everyone else, what would you tell them?
I think it's more complex than the majority of the comics that are out there. We've got quite a number of subplots, especially with, bringing a female superhero into this as well, which obviously, it makes it quite distinctive. And we're just keen to separate ourselves from the cliched superhero.
That's awesome. And like I said, I'm a big fan of just the female lead character. Some of my favorite comics that I'm reading now do have a female lead. As far as an age demographic that you're looking towards for this book, what age group are you trying to hit, really?
Well, I mean, I guess my thinking is probably sort of, teenager, young adult onwards. I truly believe there is a broad demographic that will find this very interesting. Whether they find it interesting in the format as a comic or whatever format it may progress into is a different story. But I certainly think that there's a lot in there that people can grasp onto. It's going to be a broad palette, I think, of people that will pick it up and become interested in the story.
Are there future plans to try to get Stuart to turn this into a video game?
Oh, there are always plans like that.
To be like, hey, come on, we worked on this together. I mean,
maybe one day.
I mean, we have talked about various, different areas to take it, definitely. And I think, the character, the plot, the locations, everything sit well for a multitude of different directions for it to go into. So yeah, I mean, we'd love to, absolutely love to. I don't know, and Stuart, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last really strong female character, apart from obviously the girl in The Last of Us, has been Tomb Raider, Lara Croft. I don't think we've really seen, an extraordinarily, strong female lead character. I mean, I don't know, Stu, what's your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, definitely. I mean, that's the direction, the kind of legacy we'd like to continue, with the Lara Croft and, especially in the video games.
It's just great to see. You see that in video games a lot where it's just guys everywhere, Shepard and the Master Chief and just everyone. And it's refreshing to have a female bring that strong role and be the leading character, someone that people can get behind. And it seems like that's what you guys are trying to accomplish here with Divinity Rising and with Elena. Is that her name, Elena or Elena?
No, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I keep saying this over and over. I'm such a big fan of female leads in comics and books and just any kind of genre. And so I really enjoy, and it's like a breath of fresh air of what you guys are trying to accomplish here with this comic.
Thank you.
Oh, that's great. Man. Thank you.
So that's the comic. You guys are hoping for it to drop later this next month, September, which is great because that's around my birthday. I mean, if you guys want to give me a present, I don't care. I mean, it's up to you guys. But so as far as just comics in general, this is kind of a rare opportunity for me to ask some of these questions. Is how do they differ so much from Marvel UK to Marvel US? Like, I mean, is it just like here over in America, they just pretty much, okay, let's just ship them over to the UK? Or is there like actual different comics that you guys get over there?
When I worked at Marvel UK, they kind of had their own identity in as much as they had their own storyline, kind of background to all these characters. They created their own characters as well. Before that, I think it'd been more a case of just reprints of the American material. But sadly, when Marvel UK went under, that's kind of all we get again now. Which is a lot of reprints, DC, Marvel. It's sad. It'd be nice to see them try something different this side of the pond again.
Yeah, I would really like something like that. I mean, just to see comics grow in different areas of the world, like each continent have like maybe their own special brand of superheroes that they each write. I think that would be a really neat thing to have. And so over there, what would you guys say is like the leading publisher or just comic creator over there on the UK side?
I mean, I guess in the UK, 2000 AD's always been very popular. I'm not sure if you're familiar with 2000 AD, Judge Dredd and Rogue Trooper, those characters. That's always been very popular. We get a lot of influence in the European market as well. Especially, the likes of Mobius and, a lot of the French illustrators. I mean, I just think, more in Europe, we're more open to different genres, sci-fi, right across the Western, whereas in the US it's more geared to, specifically superhero stuff. Or, although you get publishers now like Dark Horse, trying to a lot more different subject matters and, different characters, especially with that Hellboy. But yeah, I think that's the main difference between the markets.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's some insightful stuff that I wasn't aware of. So it's really nice to kind of see what it's like over there for you guys. A comic that I had heard about not too long ago, didn't know nothing about it until here recently when I actually looked into your background, Stuart, was Chronos Commandos.
Oh, yeah.
And it was kind of funny to me because I was like, oh, I remember seeing this and thinking, wow, that's kind of crazy but kind of cool. And then now here I am getting the chance to actually talk to you about this, and it just blew my mind. I was like, oh, wow, this is like coming full circle. I feel like a little kid again.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, did you have a lot of fun writing that comic?
Yeah, I mean, it went to, it did its initial first run, where are we now? That would be last year, the first 5 issues, and then it was collected in the graphic novel in March of this year. So that's out there at the moment. If anyone would like to check that out, you can grab that on Amazon or the usual, comic places, comic stores. It was great. Really enjoyed, developing my own IP and characters. It was great fun.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, guys, I got one last kind of serious question for y'all, and then we'll get into a little bit more lighthearted stuff. But here we're starting to see a big trend of comics going into TV, going into movies. What are your thoughts on that? Is this a good move for comics as a whole, like the industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think, the more the merrier, to be honest.
I definitely think so. I mean, certainly where publishers are concerned, trying to sort of make a living and eke out the money purely from selling comics isn't perhaps always possible. So, anything that adds revenue into an IP is always going to be welcome. And there are some pretty good ones out. The Walking Dead is fantastic. There's no two ways about it.
Definitely. I mean, would you like to see that happen to Divinity Rising, to see it make it to the silver screen?
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I think, like I said earlier on, it has been written in a very sort of filmic way. It's quite grand in its scale. We don't have people having introspective debates in the corner of a kitchen. There's big sequences in this. And I think those big sequences will help when people look at it and think, oh, yes, I can see how that can move into different areas. So, yeah, we definitely would love to see that happen.
Awesome. Okay, so if people want to learn more about Divinity Rising and Elena, where can they go to get more information?
Well, at the moment, it's literally the Twitter feed at Elena Anchova. We will have a website and we will have a Facebook page. Bear with us on those. But yeah, we are posting regularly and we are keeping people up to date and posting snippets on there as well. So yeah, that's the best place at the moment.
Awesome. And Stuart, if people want to get more of you and what you work on, where can they go for you?
You can go to stuartjennett.com. There's a link there to a Flickr gallery and also my blog, which I try and keep up to date as much as possible. I'll be posting Eleanor on there as well as we move along. So yeah, feel free to drop me a line.
Awesome. Okay, so let's get into just a little bit more relaxed questions. You know, we can take off the business suits and just relax a bit. But so, I mean, you guys are working hard on getting all this, and Stuart, you have your own stuff that you also do too. I mean, do you guys ever find time to just read any comics that are out there right now?
I don't get time to do anything at all at the moment. Which you can ask my wife about that. I just I don't get a moment to do. I don't read anything at the moment. It's just work. And desperately trying to get this Eleanor finished for September. Outside of a 9 to 5 day job as well. So pretty flat out at the moment.
And very much the same here as well.
I feel you guys. Not everyone can be as lazy as me and have all this free time. So there has to be people.
I've missed all the movies this summer. So a lot to catch up on.
Oh man, that stinks. I mean, you've missed some pretty good movies this year. Especially everyone's been raving about Guardians of the Galaxy from Marvel.
Yeah, I did want to watch Edge of Tomorrow as well with Tom Cruise.
Oh yes, okay, now I know which one. It looked pretty interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna go watch it yet or if I'll wait till it comes out on DVD.
Yeah, I'll wait for DVD now.
I think that's how I've gotten with all movies now. I don't like dealing with the people in the audience. Just I feel claustrophobic now when I'm out there. It just bothers me.
I find everybody sat, using their iPhones all the way through the movie. It can be a bit annoying.
Well, maybe they're like me. They got a podcast, so they're trying to live tweet the movie so everyone else can see what's going on. What would be your favorite comic character if you had to pick just one?
I'd say mine would be probably Batman, to be honest. It's a character I'd like to draw. Go with Batman.
I must admit, and I'm not a massive comic reader, but I actually love Hellboy.
Oh yeah, Hellboy, that's pretty awesome. I see the trend of like darker kind of characters there for y'all. I mean, Batman, he's brooding. Do you have like some hidden anger in your life that you just want to go out there and just fight crime and beat people?
All the time, yeah.
Maybe more towards Darren sometimes. You just want to just beat him. And
that's why we live 20 miles apart.
Okay, and so we talked about your favorite superheroes, but maybe what would be a superpower that you would, if you could choose to have one?
I think mine would be able to work faster.
I'd have to be flying, definitely. Although there is a slight issue with that, as I do suffer from vertigo, but I'm sure that could be overcome somehow.
I mean, you could work with it.
Absolutely. Blindfolds are a godsend.
Okay, so we got super speed and flying. Which one of y'all would win in a fight?
Well, I can fly off.
Is that winning, though, or is that more running away?
Well, either way, it's good.
Stuart, what do you think?
Definitely flying.
You gotta root for yourself, man. You gotta have some more faith in you. Maybe you could run fast enough, and if it's raining, you can run on the little raindrops and catch up to them.
Possibly.
I mean, like with the Flash, they keep just making up new Flash Force or whatever it's called, Speed Force, and he keeps doing new stuff. So
yeah, I don't know how they ever intend the Flash to work on screen.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, what was it? Fox did, their version of Quicksilver on there, and it looked pretty good. I like the way that they kind of showed his speed. So I think if Flash can just somehow capture that, and then of course if the Avengers can do that with their version of Quicksilver, I think it'll be pretty good. I think speed superheroes have a future.
I think with the Flash, they need to get away from the Flash's costume. I think it's awful.
I've heard that before, and I'm going to ask you guys, I don't know if this is just me being stupid or not. They say a lot of like UK, European superheroes don't dress up as much as like the American versions.
Well, I guess, the Marvel UK characters such as Captain Britain, they were definitely full, superhero costumes. I guess the characters like Judge Dredd and things aren't as driven, in that capacity by, the superpowers and the like. They're still very distinctive in the uniforms and costumes.
Okay. Last thing I want to ask you guys, actually this was a serious question I forgot to ask y'all. What kind of people have influenced y'all to do the work that you do?
For me, it's probably more film-based. I have an absolute passion for sci-fi. And I think, the influences of people like Stanley Kubrick are massive for me in terms of storytelling. And also people like George Orwell. And, in truth, Alfred Hitchcock, these are the kind of people that I look to and I think, well, that is the perfect film, or that is the perfect story. And those are the perfect characters. A Clockwork Orange is a masterpiece. There's no two ways about it. And these are the kind of things that I have probably drawn sort of influences from.
I guess my influences, obviously come from British comics that I grew up with. Mike McMahon was one of the main Judge Dredd artists, Brian Bolland. And then on the movie side of things, I'd say, concept artists such as Joe Johnston, who worked on all the Star Wars movies, and Ralph McQuarrie. Yeah, I guess they're my core influences.
That's awesome, guys. That's cool. I feel like I'm enlightened. I feel like I know more. I feel like I can go off into this world and be able to tell people, oh, well, this is what it's like in the UK. No, but I do want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day today to come on the show, promote Divinity Rising, talk a little bit about comics life over there across the Atlantic, and just kind of bring some insight to a lot of listeners to my show. And I just want to thank you guys so much for coming on.
It's okay, you're welcome.
No, thank you for having us, definitely.
Oh, yeah, definitely. As far as what's next for y'all?
Work-wise, after Eleanor, I'll probably be moving on to Kronos Commandos 2, which, hopefully that will be out the next couple of years. Just take quite a long time to produce the artwork. But yeah, hopefully another series of Eleanor as well.
I've got another project coming out fairly soon. I can't really talk about it much, but it's another comic series, so I've been busy writing that one as well. So there's plenty of stuff in the pipeline from the pair of us, definitely.
That's awesome, and I look forward to seeing what you come out with next, Darren, especially if it looks as cool as Divinity Rising. I'll be really excited to see what's coming out, and hopefully I get to play it one day on my Xbox. We'll see.
Definitely.
All right, but I do want to thank you guys again for coming on the podcast. Thank you so much. Just being awesome. You guys are really down to earth, very humble, which is always a good sign. And I'm really excited to see Divinity Rising come out later this fall.
Thanks a lot.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And that was the interview, guys. Thank you again so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you guys really enjoyed getting to listen to Darren and Stuart talk about Divinity Rising. Be sure to check it out later this fall, guys. Also, don't forget to go follow Elena Anchova on Twitter. That's at Elena Anchova. Also, make sure to follow me for more free digital comics that I give away and any other news updates, guys. Thank you so much once again. Bry-Fy out. Peace.